Yo guys, what is going on? It is Invin here, and today what I am bringing to you all is a video on some of the most important news and updates here in New World and Eternum over the past couple of days, and obviously going into this next week. Now firstly, of course, today being June 20th, we've got this for the next 3/4ish days, which is of course the Refining Skills Double XP event, which you guys can see here on the bonus XP poster. This one will be double refining XP skills for under level 200, so if you're level 200 or above, expertise, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, it doesn't count. But if you are under 200 in any of the refining skills, you will be able to gain double XP for these skills when refining for the next 3/4ish days. So that's the first thing. Obviously, the second thing is that we are expecting to get hands-on with the July PTR at some point this week. My sneaky suspicion is that it'll be in the next day or two, as they tend to release these Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that. However, because it's so early, it could be whenever, but I will keep you guys updated here on the channel when that does go live, and of course be covering the content from that, as there's a lot of exciting things to see. Now next, what I'm going to be doing is going over some community news that we've received in the past few days here on the forums, because a few of these posts are quite important and I wanted to bring them to your guys' attention, get your feedback on it and see what your thoughts are, as a lot of these are kind of either controversial or for lack of a better word, kind of 50-50 type situations where some players get behind it, some players don't. So I thought the more people that we can kind of have a discussion with this about, the better. So the first thing is, of course, here, how to save this amazing game. And this user has put on a post essentially tagging one of the community managers. Basically, this person is not particularly happy with the way that things are going. They're essentially saying that they want Asmon to speak up for the players. I think this is probably because he's got quite a big following, or a massive following, on lots of platforms. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. So he's got a really big reach, and he also has a really decent opinion on things they could do to improve the game. Many of the stuff he's talked about before has actually come in. So I think that's kind of the tact that this player is going down. Now, we got a response from Shadow Fox, who is obviously one of the devs here at New World, that says the team is aware of what Asmon has said about the game and was even mentioned in a dev update video, which was just a couple of months ago. They gave reference to a lot of kind of content creation and things making an influence on some of the decisions, or at least bringing up discussions, which is great. Now they said, along with Asmon, the feedback from other creators and players like yourself help lead us to the changes that we have made so far. We appreciate and pay attention to conversations that bring up different ideas for us all to think about. So yeah, pretty cool. Just wanted to kind of bring it in. Obviously, it's a kind of a little bit of a meme that people are saying just get Asmon on it, because obviously he's got some great ideas, but he likes to get a bit of a meme out of it, which is cool. So I think that would be an interesting idea, and it would be maybe cool to do an Ask Me Anything from the devs to content creators. Maybe open it up and just say, right, submit as your questions, maybe on Twitter or Reddit or even here on the forums, and kind of get the devs to just go through all of the player and community and content creator asked questions and give kind of feedback or updates as to where certain things are. I think that would be a really cool idea, because I think the community would love that and would love to get a certain few questions answered. So that could be a really cool one. Now the next thing that we're going to be looking at here is some UI things that would be nice. This user has put on a post essentially saying some things that they would like to see added to the game in terms of UI type stuff. Firstly, a ready check button, which I personally think would be fantastic. Gear sets, which obviously we all really want to have. The ability to swap between gear sets seamlessly would be phenomenal, and is something, in my opinion, after taking a couple of days break every now and then from playing the game and then coming back into it, even with just that very short, maybe 20 hours in between playing sometimes, or a couple of days, it can feel a bit overwhelming to find where you've put your set, or at least which bank it's in, and kind of stuff like that. If it was just able to preset stuff, it would be much cleaner, and I think a lot of the player base would really appreciate it. Then the ability to swap trophies remotely. This, in my opinion, should have been in from the beginning, but I would really like to see that one. Absolutely. Just be able to click on the trophy menu that you already have there and just be able to change the ones that you have active, and it instantly give you the buff. That would be awesome. A sort/search in all storages at once would be really cool. Obviously, we can now access all of the storages from one place, so being able to search through all of them with one type into the search bar and it gets up every item in every storage that is that would be awesome. So that could be a really cool thing to see in the future. And sort by perk in storage. Personally, I don't know how useful this one would be, especially if we did manage to get the search thing. However, instead of the search thing, this could be a good alternative. And then finally they put at the bottom here, why does my bow weigh more than my Warhammer? It's an interesting question. I've noticed this myself. So obviously we got a community mod response who was kind of saying that's really cool. And then we also got a developer response from Shadow Fox again, who said, actually, this is a great conversation. I know the team is always interested in improving the UI. And this was just a few hours ago now. So obviously, if you guys want to get involved on the forums with this post, or put your feedback down below in today's comments so we can kind of get a bit of a discussion going around these things. I think gear sets and the ability to swap the trophies would be the two most requested. At least I think so, and I think they'd be the most useful, so hopefully we can see those at some point in the near future. Now, the final thing that I wanted to cover here today is a little bit of a controversial one for some people, but just bear with me on this. So essentially it is thoughts on how to get players back. Now, this user has posted on saying, yes, the game is in a shaky state right now, but I still love the game, as do many of us, and I would imagine 99.9% of the people watching this video are in the same position. So the game will be a year old in September, which is of course very true, and probably coming up to over a year now with the testing phases. Yeah, but into June we're well over a year into the testing phases, etc. So yeah, from the first time I played, it was about a year and a bit ago now, and I still absolutely love the game. But I think some of the suggestions that this post brings up are really important, and I'd be interested to see what you guys think about them as well, because I think that this would make a huge difference to New World, and I think would probably encourage a lot of players who are maybe maxed out and have done everything and are waiting for new stuff, or some players who got stuck lower down and didn't think there was a point to leveling up, to maybe come back to the game and try this out. So the first thing they've said here is, it's a good time to make a bold announcement, say for example a new island and or locations. I think that this is really important. Obviously we see things every few years with World of Warcraft, big expansions. We see expansions like with the Elder Scrolls Online, where every year or two they release a big new area that kind of comes into the forefront of the game, makes the game popularized again for quite a while, and a lot of players have a lot of new content to go through. Obviously you're always going to have your hardcore players who are there no matter what, but this will increase the playability of the game massively, and I would love to see some new stuff coming into it now, as we've had the same map for about a year. So let's get some new stuff there. That would be absolutely amazing. And obviously, like we know there, we're getting Brimstone Sands in autumn, so maybe that could be the spark of some new adventures for us all. Now, the next thing is that they said they could raise the level cap to 65 to 70 there, so that players who are thinking of returning do not feel left behind. And of course, we need PvE raids, so that's kind of a 2-in-1 level cap increase, which probably in turn would mean a gear score maximum increase with the Umbral system and PvE raids. I think all of these things would be amazing. I think PvE raids isn't too far out of reach. Obviously, we saw like the Turkulon, goes on to talk about world bosses in a moment, but things like that with maybe 10 to 15 players as a minimum baseline would be pretty achievable, especially once this new group finder comes out in the next July update here. But obviously we'll have to see how that gets on first. Maybe after that we might start to see some work or some news, potentially already there's been work done on raids in the future. Now, playable versions for consoles, I don't know too much about this one, but I do think it is a game that could work very nicely on consoles. However, I don't know the logistics and things like that about how it would work. However, it's a nice suggestion. More players playing the game would be really cool. Then we are players, we love to collect things. Give us this opportunity. Transmutations, such as in WoW, pets, mounts when there are new locations, and etc. Yeah, I agree with this one massively. I think that the collectibles in the game, I think the other game published by Amazon Game Studios in Lost Ark is a great example of this. Tons of collectibles that keep people coming back, and I think that things like pets and mounts generally do keep players pretty happy to collect, because a lot of people want to get as many different ones as possible. Transmutation is something that a lot of players have been asking for a lot in New World, and I think that would be an amazing thing for them to add. Pets certainly could work. Mounts when there's new locations. I think I'm still on the fence about this one. However, if there were obviously a variety of them that were collectible in certain different ways for achieving different feats, for example, or, you know, attaining a certain status, owning certain settlements for a period of time, stuff like that would be really cool. So I could see them working well, obviously, especially if there's new areas as well. Yeah, I think all of those things would be nice to see. And again, collecting things as a player is, of course, one of the best parts of a game, which is why I really liked the Vista views that they added, because that was a very cool little collectible thing that we had. Now, mutations, they've said here that they like to make more levels, which will also include visual skins. I don't know if they mean visual skins for the player, as in weapon and armor kind of transmog type stuff, whether they mean to the mobs, or whether they mean kind of for the houses, for different things, I don't know. But either way, I think that would be really cool if they could drop, you know, special cosmetic items further up, harder levels. That would be cool. And more levels in general could just mean extra expeditions, which we know we are getting barnacles and black powder very, very shortly, which I assume will hopefully, fingers crossed, have a mutated variant. So that should be really, really awesome. And more of these coming up, hopefully, would be amazing too. World bosses, not so hard to add here. We've already had Turkulon. I imagine we're going to have another one coming soon, maybe in the summer event, or probably again once we get round to Thanksgiving. So adding these as a permanent fixture in certain areas with really good drops and stuff like that would be amazing. Maybe if they did increase the level cap or the gear score cap, this could coincide with that system and be another end game activity, as well as maybe adding some in the starter zones to give players a boost that do manage to kill it as a group or as a random formed group as they're running around. That would be really cool also. Now, PvP zones, this could be a really good idea. I think the PvP zones would be fun as long as it was kind of something you couldn't only get there to progress your character. It should be, you know, an advantage to go there. So maybe there's a more abundance of resources. Maybe there's a really good way to farm certain weapon XP in these areas. But of course, it shouldn't be something that's just locked behind that so that the PvE guys don't have to go there if they don't want to. And it's just something for the PvP players that enjoy it, who can go there. Maybe there's outposts to capture that give you different buffs, that sort of thing. Similarly to the forts, but obviously in a PvP only zone would be amazing. Then the hum here, this is a free-to-play. This is a great potential option down the line for New World, and I think it is something that they've probably looked at quite a lot. It is a buy-to-play game at the moment, which means obviously you've got no subscription, so players can come back as soon as there is an update. Maybe in the future, free-to-play would be a decent option. However, they have got to consider funding, and obviously then would we have to pay extra stuff, maybe a subscription fee, or would they start adding more and more to the shop in order to be able to gain the money that they would need to continue to progress the game and develop the game? So it's kind of a 50-50 there, but maybe in the future this could be a cool option if they added things like a cosmetics battle pass type system, which a lot of games these days do have kind of involved. And then the final something down here is pay no attention to the haters, do your job. I think this is a really important point. It's some great suggestions, but at the end of the day, the reason people are giving these suggestions and the reason people, you know, are getting involved is because they really, really enjoy the game. So I think that that is really crucial. Hopefully some of this stuff does come in. I think there's some great suggestions here, but obviously let me know what you guys think about all of these things right here down below, because it is a pretty big discussion and they would be pretty game changing. Would that, in your opinion, be for the better or for the worse? Because I think for me, most of these would be pretty good. But that's going to be it for community news, community updates over the last few days here and for this week on the forums and on official news. If we do get any more news and updates, I will be sure to bring you guys that right here, as well as, like I said, when we get the PTR and hands-on with the July update there, I'll be sure to give you guys all of the latest breakdown on that as well. Other than that, guys, that is going to be it for today. So thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will catch you again very, very shortly in a brand new upload. Take care and peace.